my thought on Syria. All those people do is dwell in the desert. They just dig around in the sand. They're sand diggers. And I really don't have any patience for them. I have no use for them. And when we drill for our own oil and don't have to use the oil of that region, we can let them go back to their barbaric, savage ways, and they won't even be able to afford our weaponry to shoot each other with. I don't mind dropping a couple of bombs on some sand diggers, but I am not willing to send our troops to go in and be shot up in another satellite war with Iran. And make no mistake, that's what this is. Nicaragua in 1984 was not about Nicaragua. It was about the Sandinistas. It was about the Contras. It was the United States versus Russia. It was a battle. It was a satellite war whereby we each tested our techniques, whereby we found footholds on continents, and we battled over them using our surrogates. And that's what Syria is going to be. And I don't mind telling you, when we engage in hand-to-hand combat with Irani-trained and equipped insurgents, we win, but we take some serious casualties because you're fighting on their turf, and we don't get to use the same rules they do. We don't get to slaughter the way they do. We don't indiscriminately destroy. We wait to be fired on to fire. Particularly when I see a story like this. Washington Post reports, while veterans waited longer than ever in recent years for their wartime disability compensation, the Department of Veterans Affairs gave its workers millions of dollars in bonuses for quote-unquote excellent performances that effectively encouraged them to avoid claims that needed extra work to document veterans' injuries, a News 21 investigation has found. In 2011, a year in which the claims backlog ballooned by 155%, more than two-thirds of claims processors shared $5.5 million in bonuses, according to salary data from the Office of Personnel Management, end quote. So the more complex claims submitted by soldiers were set aside and ignored so the claims processors could meet their performance standards and collect their bonuses. In addition, the work they're doing is shoddy. A Board of Appeals found in 2012 that almost 3 out of 4 appealed claims were wrong or based on incomplete information. And approximately 14,000 veterans had appeals pending for more than 2 years as of November. This is how we treat our soldiers. Forget all the BS speeches. When our soldiers come home, shot up, emotionally troubled, broke, their families ripped apart, the world having changed, they've changed, they've seen things you don't ever want a human being to have to see and you don't easily erase, and our Department of Veterans Affairs has created an incentive not to help them? This is the same United States government that kept Nidal Hasan employed years after they found out what he was doing to our soldiers at Walter Reed, that reassigned him to Fort Hood, that has given him 4 years to prepare a defense that basically consisted of, yeah, I did it. Where is the dignity for our soldiers? So no, you can't get your crap straight. We're not sending another soldier into another country to be shot up by people that dig around in the sand. For what? So that we can battle Iran for hegemony in that region? No, thank you. And the next damn Syrian that emails me and tells me we need to fight their battles, you want to fight Syria's battles? You go fight it. I'm not Syrian. It is impossible for me to care less what happens in Syria. The floor is so low. I would have to be asleep to care less about Syria and Syria's future. There it is in chemical warfare. Not on my people. I'm sorry it's happening to yours. You know what? Maybe it might be a good idea. Instead of standing out in front of the Galleria in the Gucci bags, maybe you ought to hop a plane, fly over, and shoot at Assad yourself. They could always use more rebels. Yeah, because you're not really impressing me by standing in front of the Galleria and $3,000 handbags and telling and some goofy sign as you stand out there and sip your Starbucks that says, America, you have blood on your hands. I do. I just took a steak out of the freezer, and it's thawed sufficiently, and I'm about to destroy it. On another note, my wife last night, God bless that woman, chops and rice. You look at all these insurgencies out. Oh, that's a good night right there. Anyway, that's a good night right there. Anyway, no, and no. We should not, I repeat, should not be engaged in a war with Iran in Syria. You look at all these insurgencies, you look at all these different satellite wars we're fighting. We're not in Afghanistan for Afghanistan. There's nothing there. We've got enough gravel here. We don't need another gravel pit. And it's not about the heroin trade, trust me. We're paying Karzai money that we know is ending up in the hands of heroin traffickers and growers because they got nothing else to do. Iraq was about displacing Saddam Hussein, and everything since then has been about a battle, a war with Iran. We just don't want to call it that. And that's what this is too. And no, don't send our troops in. You can drop a couple bombs because, who doesn't enjoy the evening news with, the night scope vision and watching them run and the stuff blow up? Now that's good.